Hey everybody, welcome to HeyDFW. This is literally my first show since 2014. I have to explain in a completely separate video where I've been and that whole journey. But today I just want to focus on being back and welcoming my first guest. So let me introduce him. Today my guest is Matthew Osborne. Matthew is the owner of 19 Production House. It's a full service production company that offers creative services from film, podcasts, TV shows, magazines, art, copywriting, and the web, and probably more, lots more. So, everybody, welcome Matthew. Hi, Matthew.
What's up? How you doing?
Good. So, how are you doing today?
I'm exhausted.
Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully this will be painless for you. You worked a lot today.
Today, the last week, I've been working nonstop. I've always wanted to travel, and now I don't want to travel. So it's funny. I don't know. I think Jerry Seinfeld tells a joke about how humans constantly just want to change locations to be happy. It's like we're never content with where we are. We always want to be somewhere else.
Yeah,
so
I feel you.
The grass always looks greener
on the other side. Yeah, I can see that because I've thought about doing like sometimes like maybe if I stayed here, maybe things would be this way, or if I move this place, but life is life sometimes.
Life be lifing.
Yeah, it sure does. So I did some research on you.
Uh-oh.
It's all good research. So I see that you're from Ohio. So what brought you to Dallas? Tell us about that.
What brought me to Dallas? So I've been doing, my company's called 19 Production because I've been doing creative work since I was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. So that's how we got to 19.
Okay.
And so I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I left. I was at Ohio State University, and I left Ohio State to pursue a career in the arts, if you will. But this is like the late 90s, early 2000s, so we didn't have all the language we have now to describe. Like now we say creative, and we use the word entrepreneur much more frequently in a more common way. And that wasn't the case back then. So like I left Ohio State in '99, and like people thought I was nuts. Like what's wrong with Matt? Because I was living in my parents' house. I was not cool like the other kids. Like they had apartments. They were going out. They were social. I was at the crib trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And so I'm gonna make a long story very short. So I published a book. I was in music production, and got into video production from that. But there really wasn't a market for that in Columbus. So me and my now wife, we were looking, because we're both from Ohio, we met in Ohio, we were looking for other cities to go to, something bigger. So we were looking at New York and somewhere in California, and we looked at Chicago. I got family there. Then we looked at Atlanta. And all the cost of living just didn't work when we were looking at the numbers. And so my mom and dad met at Tennessee State University in Nashville, HBCU. And my mom mainly made a lot of friends that were from Dallas. And so my mom was like, well, why don't y'all go check out Dallas? I was like, nah, I'm not going to Texas. Because all I knew about Texas was, I don't know, like the show Dallas. Like I thought it was all just horses and farms. And I knew nothing about Dallas or Texas at all, right? So we obviously came and we checked it out, and we were like, oh, it's like a real city, and we really kind of fell in love with it. And obviously we're still here. So this is like, I don't know, maybe it's like 15-something years ago. So we've been here for a while now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what do you like about it?
What do I like about Dallas? I love the economy.
Okay.
I know it's tough right now.
Yeah.
But there's a market for small business here in a way that I didn't see in the Midwest. So there's a lot of market here for small businesses, for art, and the weather's obviously better than, I know it gets really hot here, but I'll take this over like the snow and the ice we would have in back in Columbus. Like there, we would get like inches and sometimes a feet or so of snow.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like bone cold temperature, like negative 30, 20, 15, right?
Yeah.
That's like, that cold is different.
Yeah.
And so coming here, obviously getting used to the heat, it was a transition. I always laugh because when it snows here, I'm like, y'all don't know what snow is. Like, this ain't snow. Y'all got a little ice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the economy. I love the weather. I made a lot of friends here. It's just been an overall good experience. I think I'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you dislike about it?
Ooh, I don't know what kind of podcast. I don't know what this is, but
My mama watching.
Okay.
Yeah. Be honest though. You can be honest.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll do carefully. I don't like the politics here.
Okay.
I'm a very open person. I love and accept everybody as they are. I don't care what you are, your religion, your sex, your gender, your beliefs. Like, I think all people should have a right to exist, essentially.
Yeah.
And I don't know why certain groups here feel like they need to control the way people live.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let everybody live as long as they're not hurting anybody. What do you care?
Right.
Like, why do you got to get in everybody's business?
Yeah.
So I don't like the politics here. I don't like the conservative politics and that whole thing. But other than that, I think that's probably the only downside I think there is to Texas is it's a really conservative state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what made you start your business? And tell us a little bit about your services.
What made me start my business? Well, there's kind of two ways to answer that because, like, 19 production, what I'm doing now, started, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 years ago. I can't remember exactly. Around 2018. And, but I've been doing this work for like 24 years, right? So, like, when did it start? Really, when I was 19, when I dropped out of college. That's simply what I tell people was, kind of back to what I was saying earlier. I left Ohio State University. I was going to pre-med there. That was the plan. I lasted like a few, semesters or something. I left. But I knew I wanted to do something different, and I couldn't articulate it. I didn't have the language for it. And but I felt that I had to do something else. And so I published a book when I was 19. I was really heavy in the Christian faith at that time. And so I wrote this like self-help book that was based a lot on faith. And I grew up Pentecostal, so it was based on that kind of upbringing. Then, but I published this book by myself in my parents' house with a fax machine.
All right. I know what you're talking about. That's cool, though. Yeah.
And I brokered deals with Barnes & Noble,
Yeah.
Amazon, and Borders to carry it on their website.
Uh-huh.
And I did a book tour between Columbus and Memphis, Tennessee, where my mom's from, and sold books, and we made our money back. And so my parents were like, oh, okay, he's not crazy, right? And so I was like, okay, what else can I do? So I went from that to music production, because I've always loved music, and I'm talking about like the behind the scenes of it, like the sounds, what you hear, like the sonics, the bass, just all the sounds. And so I was obsessed with music production, and had always been more so than lyrics. And so I essentially taught myself music production. I would watch MTV and VH1, and I would look at the studios, BET, and I would look at the studios and what they had in the background. And I would record it on our VHS, and I would pause it and look at what they had, and I would go around the city to like music stores. I would find the equipment and price it out while working the 9 to 5, and I would go save money and buy the equipment, go to studios, get teased and made fun of because I know what I was doing, and eventually figured it out. And so I was producing for some local people. I got to do a couple things that were with small independent labels that were attached to Warner Brothers. And so I kind of got like my toe just kind of dipped into it, but I never got over a hump. I had these guys, these high school guys I was producing for, and I couldn't afford to promote them. We were using MySpace then. And I needed pictures, I needed videos. I was like, I'm gonna go buy a camera. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Bought a camera, old Nikon camera, and I started filming them and putting it out. Other people saw it, liked it, and they were like, "Hey, can you do that for our people? Can you do that for us? Can you shoot this?" So I was actually making money doing that, and so that's essentially how I got to the video and the film.
Mm-hmm.
And but music was always my first creative love, and so as people say, "What's your favorite medium right now?" And I think it's film, because with film, I can incorporate music into visual, communication. And that. So
That's cool.
yeah.
I like music and film too. I really like films.
Oh yeah, like music can really move it along and it makes
Change
it nostalgic. And,
yeah.
yeah.
Scare you.
Can scare you too. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like scary movies.
That's really cool. So I'm gonna add a question in based off that's not on my list, but so as an entrepreneur, do you and a person who was in college, because it's this debate going on now,
Really?
about the 9 to 5 and how that is not the American dream.
No.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I guess for me, like, I know everybody can't own a business. Like, everybody's mindset is not that, and you need the 9 to 5ers to, if you're a business owner, 9 to 5ers will help you grow. Yeah. But on another portion it is like, 9 to 5, 1 week of vacation out of 12 months, What are your thoughts on that?
I have very strong thoughts about it.
Okay, you can tell us.
I do think the future for people like us, kind of in the middle, I think it is in having a skill, some kind of trade, because I think what we're really saying is we want like autonomy over ourselves, over our lives, right? We don't want to be controlled, because you see how they treat us. Like, I got friends who have degrees and did all the right things and they get laid off.
Yeah.
And they struggle and they have all these issues. And I'm not saying I don't have those issues, but I'm okay because I found a kind of niche for myself, being having the skill, being of service to people, having something that people need, and being good at it and providing that. So, to your point, I don't think, like you said, everybody can be an entrepreneur, but I think we need to kind of maybe change the conversation there. Right, everybody can't be an entrepreneur, but you can also have people that work with those people. Like, there's a place for everybody, right? Everybody can't be the point guard. Everybody can't be the shooting guard. Everybody can't. Like, there's a spot for everybody. So it's a matter of like, who do you team up with? Who do you build with? And finding people who kind of align with your ideas and your goals, and understanding, which is the kind of difficult thing, the work that goes into that kind of thing. I think it's weird because there's all this like gray space where there aren't answers, where we just kind of have to figure out what works for each individual person. And what I'm trying to say is, like, when I say work and a 9 to 5 person says work, we're saying two different things. Like, we're saying the same word, but we probably are talking about two completely different experiences. Like, when I say work, I'm talking about, like, I had an event Friday night, an art show I was putting on that ended around 2 a.m. At 5 a.m., I had to go to Amarillo to film for a client. Got to rest Sunday. Monday, I was in Houston filming for a client. Back, I have to go to Lake Charles, Louisiana, Friday, and I have a family. I have a 7-year-old. We homeschool them. And I'm sure you've heard this. Like, people say they quit their 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think this. I said this to my wife, or she said this to me last night, and I also said to her in the past. People who say things like, find something you love, never work a day in your life. I think that's a lie. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, no, it's work, right? I just think you dislike it less, and you often have more good days than bad days if it's something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And I find that because there are times where I don't want to be doing what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
I'll say to myself, "Yo, you could be at a 9 to 5 right now, getting yelled
Yeah.
at by some idiot person boss
Yeah.
who doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you rather be there or would you rather be here?
Yeah.
So perspective. Does that answer your question? I can't remember.
It does. I mean, because like I have like my small business, and it doesn't stop. Because
No.
if I'm like, trying to schedule social media, I have to balance this out, or then you have to do work with the client. So it's all that other stuff in between where it gets overwhelming, and with me having like the job and that, it's very overwhelming, but it doesn't stop.
No.
At all. It's always something you have to do.
Always.
And it just goes on and on and on. So I definitely felt what you were saying there.
Yeah, you have to control it, or not. I don't know if control is the right word, but you have to find a way to work with it so it doesn't control you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I have mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something I don't shy away from talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm on antidepressants.
Mm-hmm.
I have anxiety medicine. I practice breathing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety right now because the last 2 weeks have been insane.
Because you've been tired.
Yeah, like, my insides feel like not relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
I went to bed last night at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
editing something for a client, and I'm up at like 9 doing something, I could pass out right now.
Oh, I mean, I deal with anxiety. I get what you're saying. Well, okay, so you have your medicine.
Yeah.
And you do your breathing technique. So what's another holistic way? Because I have to, for what I do for my anxiety, I have to turn out all the lights.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, go in the bed, or sometimes I'll, like, sit behind the couch and, like, literally behind the couch on the floor when I'm, like, having an anxiety attack. But everything has to stop.
Yeah.
When I do.
Yeah. Holistic. I mean, the best thing that I found for me is just breathing. Because your breath, especially through your nose, I don't know if you heard that, like through your nose, it's somehow, it's like a remote, like it controls your body. Like you can really slow things down if you breathe through your nose. And you hear a lot of athletes talk about this, where if like they'll breathe through their nose. I've even heard about people, I don't know if this is accurate, but I've heard about people like literally going to bed, taping their mouth shut.
Oh.
So they only breathe through their nose.
Mm-hmm.
And athletes who will practice with their mouth, so they breathe through their nose. And it's just something about going through your nose which kind of controls something in your body. I have a friend, Ramesh Shamia, who has a law firm, and he was a former athlete, and he's a breathing coach, and he talks a lot about that as well, about breathing through your nose. And so, but meditation for me was good, and I was always somebody who didn't believe in that before I got really, really bad during 2020. But I feel like people feel like meditating has to be and look a certain way. And what meditating is for me is I love sitting down and just listening, like just the sounds and stuff. Because all you're really trying to do when you meditate is you're trying to get yourself to be present, which is hard to do because you're constantly living in your head, making up your reality as you go. And so being present is, for me, like listening. I love sitting and listening.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is one of the, well, first, how are we on time, Angel? Okay. What is like, one of the most difficult things that you have to do as a business owner?
One of the most difficult things for me right now is time management, because I'm in a growth stage right now where like my business is scaling. And so I'm like, okay, now how do I hire people? Who do I hire? In what order? Because I need an administrative person. I need a second shooter. I need to homeschool my son. I need to sleep. So I think it's time management essentially is my biggest thing right now, is finding out where do I spend that time. Like I would waste a lot of time doing a lot of in-person meetings, and my wife was like, you can do Zooms and FaceTimes and stuff. You don't have to leave the house, which is a very simple thing that did not occur to me for some reason, which obviously saves a lot of time. But but see, I love.
I think that's part of being like a creative, and then too, like if you know, as a small business person, you still selling something, and it's easier to do in person because you kind of have their attention in person.
Yeah, it's just something different about this, than on a screen.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. I mean, I have StreamYard at home, and I have streamed like some podcast episodes, but I still prefer to meet people in the studio. I'd rather book the studio before I just do the other way. It's so much better.
Yeah.
You could just go off the rip. It's just better. It's a better connection.
Because I'm going to remember this more than I remember like a Zoom we had or something like this. Is for some reason this is going to be more ingrained in my memory.
What's your zodiac?
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, Capricorns are good leaders.
Oh,
That's what they say about Capricorns.
Yeah, December 22nd.
Yeah. December 22nd. Okay, all right. So okay. What do you enjoy the most about being a business owner?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Like, there was this moment where I remember distinctly, when I quit my 9 to 5, like, because when I moved here, I worked at an insurance company. I was an insurance fraud investigator for a few years, and when we decided, me and my wife, that I would quit and pursue my creativity film thing again, we took a year and planned. So I stayed at the job another 12 months and planned and saved money and really like figured it out, right? And so I would quit. I quit on a Friday. The plan was like, I'm going to quit on a Friday. I'm going to start working for myself Monday. Like no downtime. Like weekend, then you're going on Monday. And I remember that first Monday, and I literally I remember quitting that Friday, starting that Monday, and I had to go to Walmart or somewhere, and it was like maybe like 11:30 in the morning or something, and it was just the weirdest feeling because I was like, oh my God, like I'm just out here.
Yeah. Okay,
it might seem silly, but I was like,
no, I get it.
I'm just out here. Like,
I get it. Yeah. Like, okay. Yeah, I get it.
Ain't nobody looking for me.
Right.
Like, I'm at the store. Like, I'm just out here.
Yeah, I get it.
And it was a weird, I still remember it. It's just this weird feeling where I was just looking around and I was like, I felt a lot of freedom in that moment, but also a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh no, like I have no paycheck. Like I have to go find, work and money. And now, like doing something like this, whether it's 6:30 or in the morning, like now it's not even a thought. It's what I do now, So I don't know, it's work in a different way.
Yeah. When I left, when I started the notary business, I was like, and I left my job, I gave myself a week off before I started my new one.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'm going to see how it feels to just work for myself full time. Because a lot of people say they can do it and don't. I got up, I got dressed, and what I did was I went to different title companies to market my service and stuff. I got home at 6 p.m. I was like, wait, you did this so you could get off early and have your time back. And I was gone a whole day.
Yeah, because you working.
And then I didn't even eat lunch. So everything I thought I was going to do, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get lunch and just eat at a little diner. No. I made a route of all the places I was going to go. And I just had it in Google Maps of all the places. I was getting in and out the car, hot, sweating, tired. I got some water, and then I ran out of some business cards. No, it was business flyers. I went to FedEx in the middle of one day, and then printed out some more and got back on the road. I said, "Okay, girl, you ready? But you did kind of do a lot. You should have just took, But I was very proud of myself. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I did see on your Instagram, you had your first art show. It's Duality Dysfunction. Is that correct?
Oh,
How to pronounce it? Okay, so tell us about that.
Okay, so I learned a very important lesson with this art show. that's happening like real time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing art. I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I've been doing art. I was about to do that.
That's fine.
I've been doing art like for a while, right?
Yeah.
But it's always been something I've done at my house for fun. Like if you come to my house, it's crazy. Like our garage, we don't put the garage is another like another room in the house.
Yeah.
It's just spray paint, graffiti everywhere. Like one of the rules is everybody who comes to my house has to tag my garage.
Mm-hmm.
So we got spray paint, we got paint pens, you got something like
That's pretty cool.
it's on the floor, it's on the walls, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, right? In the inside of our house is not as much like that, but there's art everywhere, stuff we make. And so that's something that me, my wife, and my son, we just do for fun, right? And so with the Duality Dysfunction, the first flat screen TV I bought was probably when I was like 22, and I've had it forever, and it still worked for the longest time, right? So much that I gave it to my son, right? And so it was in his room. He broke it within a week because he's a kid, right?
Yeah.
He's like 5 or something at the time. He's 7 now. And so he broke it. So I take it out to the garage, throw it away, right? And I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the spray paint. I'm like, so I started having some fun and playing with it and spraying it and all that. And I'm like, oh, it looks really cool. And the screen, looks interesting with the light coming from behind the paint.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, this is neat. And so essentially I started going around the city and buying broken TVs from like Facebook and Craigslist, and the screens are cracked and stuff. And I come home, I borrow my dad's truck, and I got these TVs in the back. And my wife was like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. So I take them in the garage, and I start painting them and all that. And it was just really fun. And so a couple of friends of mine saw it and were like, oh, you should show those. And I was like, I was never going to do that. Essentially, they convinced me to show them. And that's what this show was. So I showed the TVs, which I made like 2-something years ago. Showed the TVs. I made some minis, like 6x6s and 8x8s, which are collages of things. I love the duality conversation. I love how multiple things can be true at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have a spot in society to have like gray conversations. I feel like everybody wants everything to be black or white.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the gray. And so this whole thing was about the gray areas. And so like the TVs are essentially 2 art pieces. When the lights are on and they're turned off, it's like, colorful, because there were like these bright colors like yellow and green and pink with stuff on the front. And then when you turn the lights off and you turn the TV on, it looks completely different, because like you get the light shining through the cracks and stuff. And so it was like,
That's pretty cool.
duality.
Yeah.
And so in the mini collages are like old Playboys from the 80s and National Geographic magazines and Nike books and ads. And so it's all these things that you don't typically go together. And so I love putting that there. So the important lesson I learned was I don't want to sell my art.
Yeah.
I don't want to monetize every part of my creativity. And so, because I've monetized the video and the film and the music essentially, right? And that's work, like we talk about. And I start to feel some of that with the art, like, oh no, like I don't want to market it and sell it and work it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why I did it. I just wanted to do it for fun.
Yeah.
And so I learned that lesson with this show. It's like, no, I just want to do this for fun. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to promote it. I want to make it, give it to people if they want it.
Yeah.
Throw it away when I'm done. I don't know. So
okay, that's cool. So what would that be considered like mixed media?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
somebody, like actual like professional artists,
Yeah.
I think said that to me.
Okay.
It's mixed media.
Yeah. Well, you're an artist now, so yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. 10 minutes. Okay. Well, good. We're about to wrap it up now. So, well, you already talked about your plans for the future as far as scaling, but do you have anything else for your plans for the future that you want to share?
I'm working on a documentary right now called What It Means to Be American.
Okay.
And I essentially have 21 subjects, every race, gender, ethnicity, culture. And I take pictures of them out by my house on this old road with an American flag. I don't tell them what to do with it. I just give them the flag. They do what they want. They either put it in the ground, they hold it, whatever. and I photograph them, and then I take them and I interview them, and I ask them, what does it mean to be American to you? And I'm doing this because I've never felt proud to be an American. The first time I felt proud was when Obama got elected because he looked like me. And so like I felt like a level of acceptance. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they'll accept us now because based on where you're from as a black person, you feel welcomed or you don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I grew up in a predominantly white area, so I never really felt welcomed or I fit in. And so I've always had this question about what does it mean to be American, and I'm like, I should be able to explore this, and I don't want to feel judged about. I just want to explore it. It's one of my rights, and how I'm doing this is by asking other people, kind of what they feel and what they experience. And again, to my earlier point, I don't like that a certain group of people in this country have kind of claimed the flag and what it means to be an American. I'm like, no, I'm an American too, right? And our ancestors built this country, right? We don't like to talk about that. And so this is all an effort to answer that question for myself. And so essentially it's going to be a book. Each chapter, each person is going to have their own chapter. I'm transcribing each person's interview into the chapter. So it's a book, a traveling art exhibit where I'm taking an image from each person and we'll frame it. It'll look nice. And also it's going to be a documentary. Kind of going through the stories that I've been told that are being told from each person. And I have Scott Tixier scoring in. Scott's a 5-time Grammy winner. He's worked on John Wick and the Lion King remake and all these other projects.
Yeah.
So he's writing the score for the film. He's from Paris, and he just became a citizen. And so he felt really attached to this project. And so it's really exciting. I don't have a release date.
Okay.
So.
Well, keep us informed. Now, what does scoring mean? Because I don't know what
I'm
scoring
sorry.
means.
He's making the music.
Yeah,
he's making the music for the film.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, like all the sounds and the feeling.
Yeah.
He's making that.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Well, I'll be looking at that on your Instagram page for
Absolutely.
for
It'll
that.
definitely be on there.
All right, so here's like the end of the show. And so this is something I started doing like when I first started to just kind of lighten it up just in case, the conversation gets intense. It's called HeyDFW's Top 5. And it's just 5 random questions. Like, just like a 20 questions.
I got you.
That.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what is your favorite movie of all time?
My favorite movie of all time is probably The Matrix Reloaded. People hate me for that because they're like, no, it's the first Matrix. I'm like, no, my favorite movie is the second Matrix.
Okay.
And not saying the first one was bad. I just love the second one.
I never understood it until like now when I just kind of think about like society and things of that sort.
Oh, it's very deep.
Yeah.
I could talk about it all day.
Yeah. That I was like, oh, that's kind of like has some meaning to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? How do you feel about so we just saw that Elon Musk released those robots. How do you feel about robots like taking jobs and stuff? Like, do you feel like?
Ooh, I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had lunch with somebody. We were talking about this. I don't buy it.
You don't think they're going to take jobs?
I mean, they're going to take some jobs, but I just don't believe that AI and robots are going to be the way of the future. I think it'll be a part of society. I don't think it'll be all of society because I think humans crave human interaction.
Yeah, we saw that
like
COVID.
All this like AI like films, and I'm like, some people it'll take. There's going to be a place for it, but I'm not really worried about it because I'm like, no, we need human connection. We crave human connection. We crave this. We want this. And we can't get that from a phone or machine or something. So
that's true.
I don't think it's going to take the way people think it is.
Okay. Well, we talked about how do you handle stress. So I will say, so we'll have to get another third question, but what is something that you do that other people may think is weird or off-putting?
I'm a germaphobe.
Okay. Okay.
Like I have inside clothes and outside clothes.
Okay, me too. Yeah.
I like when I get home, none of this is going it's going in the laundry. As soon as I get home, I'm jumping in the shower. Just like my home is my space.
Right.
Right. And like the world has that, but like home, that's mine. And so I don't like bringing the world kind of into my home, whether that's germs or make believe germs, you know.
Okay.
I just like keeping the two separate.
Yeah.
You know, and so people will kind of look at me weird, but I'm like, hey, can you take your shoes off?
Yeah.
In my house and all that. Cause like, no, we want to be on the floor. We want to
Right.
we want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I have house dresses I just wear around the house.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. Okay, so I'm sorry. So I'm gonna let this be the very last question.
Okay.
So the other one. So since I missed the we already answered number 3. Can you tell me like what is your like go-to food?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken? Okay. Name somewhere here
That's
that
so
has
stereotypical.
it. I just started eating fried chicken. And people used to like think that I was supposed to eat it, but I was like, you know, like I would eat wings, but like a whole chicken breast, I like started that within the last 5 years.
And I make this sauce. Like I can cook. Like my dad should have been a chef, so my dad's an excellent cook, and I got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So like I make this sauce for my chicken, and it's honey and hot sauce mixed
like
together.
Hot honey? Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
That
and like I season
good.
the chicken right. Like some fried chicken and some bread.
Sounds good.
And lemonade.
Sounds relaxing. Okay.
Like that is not good for me at this age, but
if you know how to make it, it's better than getting it from another store. All right. So the last top 5 question is, what advice would you give someone that's just getting started in business?
Oh my God. Be flexible. A very wise man told me, when the wind blows, be light. When the wind blows, be light like a feather. Because you'll have plans and you'll have things you want to do, and it typically doesn't work out that way. So just be flexible, be open, because you kind of don't know what's going to work and what's going to take. And, you know, I'm not saying don't have a plan,
right,
but like know what you want to do, but just kind of be open to collaboration and other ideas. And based on whatever it is, you're going to do a lot of grunt work, you'll do a lot of free work, until people believe you do what you do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could just tell everybody how to reach you and like your Instagram handle and your website and all that good stuff.
So my website is the number 19productionhouse.com. Instagram is 19 Production House. Twitter is 19 Production House. TikTok is 19 Production House. And through our website, you can find all the other different projects we're working on, whether that's film or the documentary, or we didn't even talk about Web3 or NFTs, crypto, that world. I have a documentary about mental health on there that I made a couple years back. So
okay, all right. Well, that is it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're gonna get you home so you can get some rest. Thank you, everybody.
This was cool.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Make sure you follow HeyDFW on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube and Facebook. Good night.